Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Vanessa Dunn Guyton, and I am the proud founder and executive director of Hush No More. Hush No More supports survivors when they're ready to come forward to get information, to find resources, or just to have somebody listen to. We also provide training in our communities on what we call the hush topics: sexual assault, domestic violence, human trafficking, child sexual abuse, incest, anything that people have a hard time discussing. We talk about it. And tonight you are joining us with Hush No More Champions. This is a space that we have a guest that comes in and talk about these topics as an advocate, as a survivor, or either as a nonprofit. So today we had to cancel my guests. We were talking about suicide, and it's a real hard topic to talk about. So I said I'm just going to come on by myself, answer any questions, engage all of you, and just talk about what's really going on in our community. How can we make a difference? What are some things that you can do to help somebody that's going through suicide? And if you are struggling with suicide ideations, if it's something that you've thought about, let's talk about it. This is my space. I'm here for you. And I think it's important that we discuss that taboo word and why it's so important. So, what I want to tell you is, as victim advocates, we lose people, right? We lose people, and we work with people with a lot of trauma, period. When you are sexually assaulted, when you are a survivor of child sexual abuse, when you're in a domestic violence relationship, sometimes you feel lost, right? And you don't know what's going on, why you having these thoughts, you don't know where to turn. Sometimes you can't talk to people because they say dumb things. That's what I call it. The dumb responses that people make when you're going through, when you're struggling with suicidal ideation, when you're struggling being a victim. And it's very difficult. And a lot of times we don't even tell. We don't know who to tell. We don't know who to turn to. We don't know who to trust. And even though our community and our society say, oh, you can come talk to me, it is very hard to determine who you're going to talk to when you are contemplating suicide, because people are very judgmental, right? I have heard things like, if you commit suicide, you're going to hell. It is a sin. That's not something that when somebody's contemplating suicide that they want to hear, right? They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear about they going to hell. That's not going to stop them from committing suicide. It's one of the hardest things ever to have to deal with. And so I really want our society to say it's okay to talk about suicide. It's okay to come forward for help. It's okay to be transparent and say, today I'm having a bad day. I might not commit the act, but I've thought about it. And I just need somebody to talk to help me work through this. Statistically, 132 people die a day from suicide. And I know the rate is higher because sometimes when they do an investigation, they say that it was accidental, right? And they don't say it's a suicide. Or people try to cover it up because there's an embarrassment. Family members don't even tell us that they committed suicide. They'll come on the scene and they'll hide the letter if there's a letter, because it's embarrassing to have a family member die from suicide, right? So it's so much going on. And I wanted to be transparent and share my experiences because I want to encourage people to come forward to get help and not feel like they're alone. I don't want to lose another victim to suicide because of something that we could have helped them with. Okay. And yes, I'm emotional, and I didn't think I was going to get emotional, but I am, because I don't want to lose anybody else. And so if this show can help you, share it with somebody that you know that's struggling, somebody that's in your family. Share it. You got to talk about it because they're struggling alone. Okay. So I'm getting myself together. If you know me, you know I get so emotional and I cry. I cry at my events because I love you all and I just want to make a difference. So let's go. Let's get this show on the road. All right. So suicide. It's a hard topic. I contemplated suicide twice. No, let me fix that. I attempted suicide twice. Some of you know, some of you don't know that I am a survivor of military sexual trauma. It is so hard to deal with being sexually assaulted or any type of abuse to you, right? And not being able to tell anybody, not be able to come forward, to have to deal with that all by yourself is very difficult, right? And so you don't know where to turn. You can go to counseling, you can go to therapy, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And so I encourage people to go, but sometimes you walk away, you're like, I don't have a solution, I don't have an answer. And some of you don't understand what people go through when they're dealing with suicide. They feel lost, like there's nowhere to turn. There's nobody that I can trust. Even though I know my family love me, do they really love me? Do they accept me? Do they understand what I'm going through? And we feel like nobody understands what we're going through, right? And that we're absolutely alone. And y'all, I'm not crying for my own story. I'm truly just emotional for the loss of a victim. It hurts when you lose somebody, right? And so for me, I didn't want to live, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I was tired. I was tired of crying. I was tired of waking up feeling like somebody was going to harm me. I was tired of every time I heard a noise, I'm checking the windows. I was tired of just being stressed out. I was tired of going to work and not being able to focus and not being as successful as I normally am because of what happened to me. I was just tired. I didn't feel like there was a way out. Yeah, I am the daughter of a minister. I grew up in church all my life, but sometimes you don't feel like the church is the answer sometimes, or that it's acceptable to go to church and be like, yeah, I'm thinking about killing myself, right? That's just not an answer. And then especially if the church that you go to doesn't talk about suicide, right? If they don't talk about the hush topics, you feel like you're the only one. So it's hard to go to those places. It's hard to go to an organization and talk about how you're feeling. And then you don't want to be committed. You know, if you tell them what's really going on in your head, that maybe they'll put you in the hospital and now we're committed. And that's even another hard thing to have to go through. So for me, I chose to take pills. Being in the military, we get all different type of medication. So I used like Percocet, anything that was in my cabinet, I took it and I made a cocktail. And I'll tell you why I chose to take pills. The reason why I decided to take pills was because I didn't want to have bruises on my face, right? My mind, we have a plan. When you're thinking about killing yourself, there's a whole entire plan. My plan was I was gonna be cute at my funeral. They weren't gonna look at my casket and say, "Oh, she looks good. Her body looks good. She looks the same. She don't have any bruises. She like she's sleep." Right? I wasn't going to have that going on. I didn't want my family to feel bad about how I looked, and so I wasn't want to cut myself. I didn't want any bruises, and plus that hurt. I just wanted to go to sleep. I wanted to go to sleep and never think about it again, and never wake up, right? Fortunately, and Tony always allowed me to share our story and just what we went through together in our marriage. But fortunately, Tony, which was my husband, actually found me. And what's crazy, y'all, I wanted to kill myself before PT. I was still in the army. I didn't want to go to PT. I feel like if I was gonna die, at least die early in the morning. I have to run because I hate to run, right? And so I had a whole plan of when I was gonna do it. He came back from PT and he found me. He revived me and he begged me to go to the hospital. And I said, please, I don't want to go. I don't want anybody to know. I don't want my command to know. I don't want my job to know. None of my peers, none of my family, they can't know, right? Nobody, I didn't want anybody to know. I was so embarrassed. And he said, I won't tell Vanessa, but you got to get help. You got to go to counseling. You got to do something. So I promised him, I said, okay, I promise you, I'm going to counseling. I'm never going to do it again. Please don't tell anybody, And that was the pact that we had. Looking back, was it a good idea for him to have that pact with me? Considering I tried it again, probably not. We probably should have went to the hospital together. I don't really know. I don't know how I could have changed it up a little bit, but I probably needed to go to hospital then. I needed to be in the facility then and admit it, but I was too embarrassed. I was embarrassed that I wanted to kill myself and that I didn't want to wake up, right? And I got a family, but it just wasn't enough. When you commit suicide, you're not thinking about, oh, my family. You're beyond that. You love them, but you just feel like you're better off without them. They're better off without you. So when people say, well, your family should keep you there, your children should keep you there, you get so low that you're not thinking about that. You're just not. It has nothing to do with your family. It has nothing to do. Only time it has something to do with your family is if they're the one that's abusing you, right? Other than that, you can't see past the misery, the sadness, the darkness, and what you're going through, and the pain and the hurt, and you're tired of hurting. So it's hard to see that. The second time, fast forward, I've been through counseling, therapy. I've had a lot of therapies over the years, right? still was feeling bad. I still was in a command that didn't care. And they could say what they want to say. I knew that they didn't care. I was in one that was absolutely horrible to me. They were mean and they were not supportive. I was in the part of the military. I was in what you call operations for civilians that wouldn't understand. It was called the G3. And I was operations, all male men, and I was the first female. And it was very hard to be in that unit. And that was the hardest unit I've ever been in. That was the hardest challenge. I always say God put me there so that I could learn that I could overcome anything if I could overcome that unit and being in that operations. So it was really rough time for me. So I decided that I was just done. I was done. So about a year later, I did it again. So this time the pills didn't work, right? So I decided that I was going to use carbon monoxide and go in my garage, and I cut my car on, got off work early, went home, cut my car on, just was running the car, right? And I realized that I was just gonna fall asleep. Because remember, y'all, I didn't want to have no bruises or nothing. Like I wanted to just go to sleep and never wake up again because I was tired, right? I couldn't see a way out. And yeah, I prayed, I asked God for help. I just didn't feel like nothing was working. Okay. So carbon monoxide, car running, garage down, and I said, well, I should be asleep within about 15, 20 minutes because I did my research, right? We have a plan when we decide to do suicidal attempts. That's why it's important for you to ask a plan. The thing that saved my life was the fact that my son came to the door and he said, Mom, I didn't know you was off work early. What you doing? And in that moment, my life changed. I felt like crap because if my son would have waited maybe like 10 or 15 more minutes, I would have been dead. And he would have had to live with the fact that his mom killed herself, and my daughter would have had to, all my kids would have had to try to figure out what was going on. People always want to figure out how they could have saved you, what they could have done. And I just felt horrible. And so I made a promise to myself between me and God that I would never try to kill myself again and that I would get help. Now, needless to say, I didn't get help right then either. I still lied. I still act like everything was okay. I still had on a mask. I still was cute. I still was the wife. I was the soldier. I was the student. I was the one that had it going on. I was the oldest of six girls. I was the one that was responsible. I wore that mask for years, years, right? And so fast forward until I was committed, and most of you know I ended up being committed to the VA hospital, and I was there for over a week for alcoholism and depression and everything else that you could think of. That's when I really got my life together. I always recommend that you take the chance to go to the hospital. It worked for me. I met the most amazing therapists, counselors, friends, other survivors. Uh, that's when I started really trying to work on not drinking anymore. That was it. And the alcohol and drugs, I didn't do any drugs, I did alcohol, and that just makes it worse. It makes you more depressed. It doesn't help. I just think that it was helping me go to sleep, but it wasn't. And so I'm very transparent. When I train, I talk about suicide. I talk about how can you understand what's going on with the individual that's having suicidal ideations. Why would they want to kill themselves? I made a post that said, don't ask anybody why would they want to kill themselves. They got their own reasons. Ask them what can you do for them? How can I help you? Right? How can I help you? That's what's most important. What can I do for you? Not asking them questions that are like condemning. And you're asking from your heart, right? I know it's like out of care and concern, but all people really need to hear from you is, man, I know you're going through. What can I do for you? How can I help you? Do you need me to go to the doctor with you? Do you need me to find you resources? Do you need me to connect? What can I do for you? And sometimes they may say nothing. Sometimes we don't want any help. Sometimes we want to just try to figure it out on our own. But we want to know that you care and that you're there, but that we can do this. And so don't judge people that say they have suicidal ideations. Don't make them feel like crap because they already feel like crap. Don't say things like, well, you could just pray about it, it'll get better. You don't think they tried to pray? Right? You don't think that they're trying? They are. They are trying. You can recommend, you could say, I've been to this therapist and they were really, really good and they helped me. You know, how we get through this is through love. I love you. I love you. I love you. That's how we get through it. And so I don't want people to feel alone, that you're the only one. I talk to people every day who are dealing with suicidal ideations. They may not act on it, right? And it might not even be from just sexual assault or domestic violence. It may be because they have cancer and they're sick every day and they're tired, right? Because they have some type of illness and they're just tired of going through it, right? They might be being bullied. So there's so many reasons that people don't want to live anymore. And it's not because they don't love you. We love our family. Our family means everything to us, but we just don't see why we should still be here. We don't see us being added value at times. And I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm just speaking for some of us, right? Because I can't speak on it for everybody, but I want you to understand that this thing is real. We are losing people. Losing people. Suicide rates are on the rise since COVID. It sucks being in the house by yourself, right? The military, their rates are rising. Their rates are rising. They're at 28.7 for every point, 28.7% of 100,000 soldiers. That's a lot. 28 of 100,000 soldiers die. That's a very high number. When we lose one, we lose the battle. I don't want to lose another soldier. I don't want to lose another victim. I definitely don't want to lose another soldier that's a victim because I want them to be able to heal. This year, this girl is going to be talking about healing. You've already seen some of my shows. We're healing. That's what we're doing. We are trying to heal. That is so important that you focus on ways that you can get to the next level and actually pay attention to how you're feeling and being honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. I don't want to live. And why don't I want to live? And what are some things that I can do? There's so many natural ways. You don't have to be on medication. Meditation works. Therapy works. Reiki works. You'll see me always having crystals. I have a lot of crystals and different things that I do, healing modalities. I do a lot of grounding. I will take off my shoes and go in the grass and just walk in the grass when my anxiety levels are high. Remember when we were kids and we would lay down in the grass and look up at the sky and you look at the clouds and you'll say things like, oh, this is like a plane, like a bird, that looks like a bug in the sky. Do that. Lay down. Look at the sky. And that helps you relax. That helps you calm down. That helps you to just focus on the sky, the creations that God made for us. Go to the water. I am famous for being at a beach and sitting there writing and journaling. You will see pictures of me at the beach. I'm not always at the beach because I just want to see some sunshine and water and some waves. I'm at the beach because I have to relax. I have to rejuvenate. I have to restore. I have to have time by myself. You have to do things that make you happy. We do so much for so many other people. We have so many requirements on us. There's so many societal norms that have us in a box that sucks that we have to get out of. We have to get out of them so that we can actually get to the next level. And it's important that we love on each other. When people say they were suicidal, you know what? I love you. I'm so glad that you're still here. Can I give you a hug? Now it's kind of hard to hug during this COVID time, but if they're your family and friends, give them a hug. Let them know how much you care. That is so important. All right. So I got some comments that I want to share from Deanna. Deanna says, sometimes it doesn't matter who loves you or who is there for you, as all you want to do is die, get out of the pain you're in. And so ending it all seems to be the only option. I myself am a survivor, advocate, peer specialist, motivational speaker, and volunteer. I am a survivor of suicide attempts and have lost loved ones also. I know the ultimate last seconds of wanting it all to just end. So this is one reason why I myself ask others to never stop talking, never stop reaching, never stop. She continued. Please don't judge what you may not see. I live with a mental illness. It's a struggle and at times devastating. At times I can look in the mirror and feel as if my life has been really humiliating. It's a challenge to keep a positive outlook on life. When I'm feeling so low, I don't want to be considered an outcast, so I continue to live, learn, and grow. Sometimes I feel deep sadness and frustration. Other times I continue to find ways to feel my soul without dehydration, these repressed thoughts. And so I get it, Deanna. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming on and just showing people that, yeah, it's a challenge, right? And especially if you have mental illness going on, if you're dealing with depression, if you are bipolar, if you're schizophrenic. But remember, suicidal ideations can occur to people who don't have any mental health issues, right? Anything, you are welcome, Deanna. You are definitely welcome. And we keep going and we advocate for others. It is not easy to always advocate, right? It's not. So love on people, love on your advocates, give them the help that they need. So to my survivors who are out here struggling with suicide, know that I love you. Hush No More is here for you. And I'm not just saying that from a political stance. I mean that 100%. We are here for you. That there's no judgment. There's no judgment. Right? We have free counselors. You can contact us. We have counselors who help you. I'm not the one to do counseling as it relates to suicidal ideation. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Why? Because Vanessa cries. Right? I'm the one that's going to love on you and I'm going to get you the services, but I can't sit there and listen because I'm a crybaby. I'm crying. So I do my intakes. I love on you and I get you to the most amazing counselors and therapists that we have that are absolutely free. That's why we raise money so that we could pay therapists to help those who are in need, right? You are not alone. A lot of times it's the shame, it's the humiliation, the trauma that has us stuck. It's possible to get out of that. You just have to want to, right? You have to make the decision that you want to live, that you want to change how you're living today. That this sucks where you are, but it doesn't have to be. I could tell you, I am living in bonus. Y'all see me celebrate my birthday for the whole entire month. You know why? Because every day that I live is a blessing because I wasn't supposed to be here. In my mind, I wasn't supposed to live past 30. I wasn't supposed to live past 35. I am 47 years old and I'm killing the game, right? I am really doing very well. I still have bad days, but I bounce back and I don't let myself stay past a day. I give myself one day to say, today sucks, right? Today sucks. Tomorrow might sucks. Maybe it might suck tomorrow, but I don't go past 2 days. Because if I go past 2 days, now I'm in a state of depression that I can't get out of. I can't get out of it. And sometimes medication works and sometimes medication doesn't. Sometimes medication will work for 2 years and then all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore. And so now you're trying to figure out what's going on. Right. So don't give up. Do not give up. We are going to be doing a lot of events this year that are going to be about healing. I am going to be doing healing retreats because we got to find safe spaces where we can come and find really good healing modalities to get to the next level. I gave you a few tonight. That is what I'm definitely going to be doing. My first one is going to be healing addictions. We're going to help heal addictions, and it is possible. I am proof that it is possible. Y'all know this girl is at 3 years sober. I am proof that it is possible to heal through addictions, and we're going to be in Columbia, South Carolina, and we are going to be at Sesquicentennial Park, and we're going to be at the waterfall there. We're going to be all in the woods, loving on each other and healing, and just figuring out ways that we can do this. You have the possibility to get to the next level. It doesn't have to be over unless you want it to be over. Okay. And I will tell people that when somebody wants to commit suicide, you can do everything that you can to try. But if they're ready, they're ready when they get to that point. And it's so sad because we don't want them there. But it's really hard, you know, especially when it's a gun victim because they were very intentional and wanted to make sure that they ended their lives. Period. They no longer wanted to be here. And we have to be respectful of people and the things that they're going through and the decisions that they make. And it's hard. So some of you are going to try to stop people and you should. You should ask things like, how can I help you? Is there anything that I could do for you? Do you need to go to the hospital? What is this, some type of therapy? What can you do? But at the end of the day, people make choices and you may not agree with their choice. Like I didn't agree with my beautiful sister who made the decision yesterday. I didn't agree. And so, but it's not my life, it's hers. And so I have to respect it. I have to pray for her family and I have to pray for everybody that's involved. And then today is another day. And that's how I get through it. It's important that we do that. Deanna said, your courage is your strength and your strength is your courage. I love that, Deanna. I am going to make a Facebook post using that because it is true. It's hard to be courageous to decide not to kill yourself, and you have those thoughts running through your head, and they're like a squirrel. They're just running around. They're just running around. And how do you stop it? You stop it by making the decision that you want to live, that you want to live, and that you want to do something about it. And there's a lot of help out here. You are not alone. I am going to post the suicide hotline number, but their number is 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255 is the suicide hotline number. They are like really cool. The VA, I will also post the veterans suicide hotline if you're military. They're great hotlines. I've even called the VA hotline. Probably in 2016, I called a VA hotline and they sat and talked with me, which I thought was really, really cool. So there are even hotlines and you can text, right? If you don't want to talk on the phone, you could text them and chat, right? You could chat with them. And that way it's like they're not hearing your voice and it's anonymous. So you could just talk to somebody. You don't have to be alone and you could talk it through, right? If somebody has a plan, they're serious, y'all. I had plans. I had thought about that thing. And so when they're having plans, that's when we really have to speak up. And it's hard to keep people's secrets when they're suicidal, and it's a hard decision to make. I can tell you that. Tony had to make that decision if he was going to keep my secret or not. It's hard. But then what if I would have been successful? He'd have felt real guilty. And so reach out, get advice on how you can help your friend, your family member, your child. Some of you, it's your children that are going through this. Reach out to get resources for them and see what you can do, right? So that they don't feel alone. So they don't feel alone. Deanna said in July they'll have nationally the 988 numbers. Yeah, I can't wait for that. I think it's important for us to have numbers that we can call and to reach out to and to send emails and texts. So sometimes you don't want to talk. I get a lot of messages in my inbox. We Hush No More gets a lot of messages in their inbox too, and it's okay with us because we just want to be able to help you and save face. And everything that we do is confidential. I don't go around and be like, yeah, such and such called me or such and such messaged me talking about she want to kill herself or he want to kill himself. That's not what we do here. And if I hear anybody talking like that, I correct them because it's not fair. It's not fair. There should be no judgment. There should not be any judgment. And you never know when it's going to be you, your daughter, your son, your brother, your sister, your parents. It could be anybody. Okay. So don't judge people and gossip and talk and make them feel horrible, because that's why people don't come forward for help. Because some of you are just downright mean. And I always say if there was more love and kindness in the world, we wouldn't have the problems that we have today. Period. If you loved each other and you respected each other, and when people have problems, you support them and not talk about them. And it's in your organizations. It's at work. You do it. You do it in the church. You do it in the mosque. You talk about people, right? Stop talking about people. Help people heal. Offer them a hug, a love, because it's hard for us to come forward when you make us feel like crap or we heard you talking about somebody else. Never coming to talk to you because I know how you talked about this other brother and sister. So I'm never going to come and confide in you. Understand what people are going through and see what you could do to help them and stop other people from gossiping and talking about people as it relates to their trauma. Nobody wants to walk in the room and hear you talking about them being sexually assaulted. Nobody want to walk in the room to talk about it. They had a black eye and you talking about it, but you ain't offering no assistance and help and you're not loving on them, but you're talking about them. Yeah, such and such husband been beating her. Yeah, such and such wife been beating him. And it's a shame that he let a woman do that to him. Stop talking about people and show them love. Encourage them. Let them know you're there for them because somebody's listening to you and they'll never come to you. And some of you are parents and your children hear what you're saying and they're suicidal, they're depressed, they're having a hard time. But they won't come and talk to you because they hear you gossiping on the phone, they hear you talking to other people about it. And so they're never going to confide in you. And I'm telling you this because I've heard children tell me this that I can't go talk to my mom because my mom tell all her business and she be talking to her aunt, my aunt, and telling her friends. And so I can't talk to them. Children are listening to you. They can't come forward and tell you what's going on with them because they don't trust you because they see what you're doing. and they see your behavior and they don't find you trustworthy. Some of this is going to resonate with you, some of it is not. But if you're that parent, you need to go talk to your children and apologize and make it right. Because sometimes our children can't even come forward to tell you that they're being molested, that their father or their mother is having sex with them because they can't trust you as a parent or an elder in their family. Real talk. So I need y'all to get it together because I don't want a child killing themselves because they're tired of being molested. They don't want to be touched anymore and they don't have nobody to tell because the parents are not there and you're not listening. The number one complaint that I hear from children when I'm mentoring them is my mother, my father do not listen to me. Listen to your kids. Find time that they don't have a cell phone. You don't have a cell phone. No TV. We're going to talk and we're going to laugh. We're going to have dinner. Maybe watch a movie together. Start making that time so that your children are able to come and talk to you and so they're not suicidal. Our children are dying. Our children are committing suicide. Our children are cutting. Our children are cutting. They have cuts on their arms, in their in the inside, in the inner thighs. They're cutting in places so you can't see. They're cutting themselves from pain. And we got to do something as a community to make it stop. And it starts at home, in families. And it starts with the aunts and the uncles and the grandparents, the cousins. We're all responsible for each other and in this community. We're responsible for loving on people. Okay. So that's all that I have. Tanika, I love you too. Thank you for even sharing your story. Thank you. People go through. So I ask you to share this video. I will put links in the video where people can get help, right? It is so important that individuals know where they can turn to and that they're not alone. And I'm going to just tell you, I'm tired. I'm tired of our community having a bias against people who are suicidal, who are talking about them and not supporting them. Life can suck for some of us, most of us. But a lot of you got on a mask and act like your life is perfect. Life is not perfect. If you take off your mask, then more people will be able to help you and more people will be able to come to you because you're transparent and you're sharing your story and you're deciding to hush no more. That's all I have tonight. Um, I'm here for you if you need me. Do not be talking about Dr. Vanessa was crying on her show. Look again, but I just had to come and talk to my family, my Facebook family, my YouTube family, my podcast family. I had to come and talk to you all so that you know that, man, this is real out here. And that 132 people a day could be you. It could be you. It could be your brother, your sister, your cousin. We don't need to lose nobody else. We don't. We got to be there for each other. So peace and blessings to you all. And know that Hush No More is here. We will support you any way that we can. We'll support your family. So we're here. And know that I love you. I love you. I love you. And some of you I've never met, but I know you from social media. And I love you too. So peace and blessings. Thank you all.